Howdy, everyone. That media guy here, and if there's one thing that myself, Mario, and Sonic can all agree on, it's that mushrooms are the absolute worst food in existence. I'm serious. Whoever thought it would be a good idea to get humans to eat fungus should have fungus attached to their feet for the rest of their life. But seriously, full disclaimer, this review is coming from a massive Mario fan. With dozens of games in my collection, not including digital purchases, Mario has been the quintessential franchise for every Nintendo system that I own. My 3DS is from the Mario 3D Land bundle, my Wii U is from the Mario 3D World bundle, and Mario Odyssey is the only game that I purchased on the exact same day that I got my Neon Joy-Con Switch. And that's not even going back to my Wii and DS days. Yeah, I own a PS4 and an Xbox One X as well, and a 360 before that, but Nintendo consoles are top dog for me, and it is all because of Mario. The game that got me into video games as a whole was Mario Kart Double Dash, which was on display for me to enjoy at my local McDonald's Play Place, and my love for the franchise snowballed from there. Yeah, my favorite game of all time might not be a Mario game, but Mario is without a doubt my favorite video game franchise. So, needless to say, I was quite hyped for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Even though I don't really go to movie theaters anymore, at least on my own, I made sure to jump on it the week I could watch it at home. And now that I have more things to say about it than I honestly expected. In fact, everyone on the internet has seemingly had something to say about this film. And, as I'm sure you've probably noticed by this point, there is quite the disparity between critic and audience reactions. Critics complained about how the film sacrificed a deeper story with proper pacing and character moments for action sequences and Easter eggs, while audiences loved how the film brought what they knew and loved from the games to the big screen. And this honestly puts me in a tough spot. Because even though there is a side of me that loves the Mario franchise, there is another side of me that loves to examine the films that I watch. In fact, perhaps my biggest inspiration for what led me to being the media guy that I am today, aside from the obvious, was a now deleted YouTube channel titled CSP, short for Certain Starting Place, which focused on reviewing every Best Picture winner in Oscar history with a modern critical eye. This inspired me to do the same, watching the films and documenting my feelings on them on a spreadsheet as I went along. And through this process, I have learned about what it takes to make a strong piece of filmmaking. And I think it is safe to say that, as a whole, video game movies were not at all that for the longest time. Ever since Super Mario Bros. Set the tone in 1993, these movies have really struggled to translate video game euphoria to critically successful filmmaking. And this was the case up until relatively recently. In 2016 alone, we had Ratchet and Clank and Warcraft and Assassin's Creed and Resident Evil The Final Chapter. It was crazy to think about how the Angry Birds movie was generally considered to be the best video game movie of the year, but at this point, since video game films were very much expected to be bad, all of these films ended up being utterly unremarkable and were very easily forgotten about. Things did start to improve gradually after that. In 2018, we had Rampage and Tomb Raider, which were generally seen as steps up from before, even if they weren't necessarily considered to be good in their own right. And we had some decent video game adjacent films that year with Ready Player One and I guess Ralph Breaks the Internet? But what seemed to start the change in dialogue about video game movies was Detective Pikachu in 2019, and what seemed to solidify it was Sonic the Hedgehog in 2020. Now, things obviously haven't been perfect since then. Monster Hunter was seen as hilariously awful, and Resident Evil came back after the final chapter, as you do, in a film that I am sure you all had probably completely forgotten about until I brought it up just now. But with the overwhelming success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie and The Last of Us in 2023, the dialogue around video game filmmaking has seemed to garner more interest than fear as of late. I mean, it must have, considering just how long this introduction bit has been, and I haven't even gotten to the part about how this film was directed by the Teen Titans Go directors, or how, even worse, this film was made by Illumination. But since I have never watched Teen Titans Go, and I have not seen a new Illumination film in over half a decade, those two elements really did not factor into my experience of watching this film. And I guess now this is the point where I answer the question. What did I think about the Super Mario Bros. Movie? Well, I can't lie, I cannot remember the last time that a film had me grinning ear to ear this much from start to finish. This film gave me just about everything that I could realistically want as a Mario fan. And this is the part of the video where I have to make this very clear. If you are a big fan of the Mario franchise and have not seen this film for whatever reason, I would stop watching this review right now and see this film. Not only am I not trying to deliberately avoid spoilers in this review, but a lot of the enjoyment from this film that you are going to derive comes from seeing and hearing all of the references to the games and consoles that you know and love. I have heard people refer to this film as nothing but action sequences mixed inside of a Mario Easter egg factory, and I honestly can't really argue with that. But I do think that there is a bit more to it, so allow me to go through what I was thinking about as the movie progressed. After the first scene that was largely shown in the first trailer, we had the Mario Brothers commercial and the brothers reacting to it in Brooklyn. And already, just a few minutes into the film, I am absolutely blown away by the animation. I remember feeling a bit off put when I first saw Mario's character design for this film, as I was expecting Illumination and Nintendo to air closer to what the characters looked like in the game, but while watching the film, I found myself not caring in the slightest. I can't believe it took a movie studio this long to finally do justice to what a video game film is supposed to look like. Fully animated with a big budget and designers who actually cared. And it also helps that this film is unbelievably bright and colorful, which makes sense considering just how bright and colorful the Mario games are. It makes me wonder just how Illumination would tackle a Zelda film, since Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom sacrificed more vibrant color palettes for a more stylized design. But simply put, this film looks gorgeous and sounds like the Beastie Boys? Yeah, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the music in this film, and I will get into all of that and more in the second part of this review. So until then, thank you so much for watching, click the red button to subscribe, and have a fantastic rest of your day doing whatever.